Hey, what's going on guys, Nick here, and I'm going to be giving my spoiler-free thoughts and review of Deadpool and Wolverine. So generally with a movie like this, I can't really talk too much about it because unfortunately a lot of the stuff they have been actually hiding within the marketing. This is a no way home, I guess Avengers type of, movie in terms of secrecy. There are a lot of surprises, characters that show up that I just really can't talk about because it would delve into spoiler territory. So I'm going to be trying to give, just my general thoughts on sort of the plot, the positives and negatives, and, how I felt about the film overall and how I think it will affect Marvel in its troubling period it's going through right now. So basically the plot begins with Deadpool on his world and something pretty big happens within his life, and that makes him end his relationship with Vanessa. He's no longer working as Deadpool the mercenary and instead works with Peter, who we saw in Deadpool 2, as a used car salesman. Now eventually he does get visited by the TVA, and it also does tie into because his world is dying, his timeline is dying. As we see in Loki and those shows, we know that there's a lot of stuff happening within the Marvel multiverse, and basically he sets out on a mission to try and save his world by getting help from Logan, a Wolverine character, which as we've seen in the marketing is another variant. It's not the Logan that we eventually see that dies in the events of the movie Logan. This is a completely different Wolverine from another world. Now, another thing that we have seen in the trailers is that most of the movie does take place within the Void from Loki, and that's where we see most of the big surprises and characters and, a lot of the action set pieces take place within the Void. Another part of this that they've been hiding is that the Void isn't just this giant, barren wasteland. There's actually a lot of different places that the characters go to, which was kind of refreshing that it's not just, a big gray, dull desert that they're going through the entire time. There are actually some different locales, a forest, a diner, there's some other areas that they go to, so that was kind of cool to see. And obviously the Ant-Man corpse that the villains are hiding out in, like Cassandra Nova. So speaking of new characters, we do have Cassandra Nova as the villain and primary antagonist here. She's the sibling of Charles Xavier. She's in the Void, leading other outcast characters that we've also seen teased in trailers, such as Pyro, Toad, and Sabretooth. And she's a pretty big, formidable foe. It's like, what if Charles Xavier was evil? You'd have a pretty big Omega level mutant on your hands, and she's definitely a villain that they have to come to blows with and figure out how to deal with, because alone, just getting up and trying to fight her over and over again can't really work. Now, the other character that we have here that's a pretty big one is obviously the new Logan that I talked about. This guy has a troubled past where he let his X-Men down in his world, and he eventually became isolated and an alcoholic because of those traumatic events. Now, going into more details would give away spoilers, so I'll kind of leave off there, but eventually he does don the classic costume that we see, and that's pretty cool to see, at least on a surface level, that he finally wears the iconic yellow and blue costume that we've basically waited 20 years to see now in live action. Now, as for the positives and negatives, there are some interesting reveals and surprises that I think work well, some things that I had no idea about going in, even with all the leaks and rumors out there, along with some jokes that reference pretty direct meta aspects of the previous Fox Marvel movies and just the actors that we see in the movies in general. So I like those. I thought those worked well. They were surprising. Like I said, didn't see those coming. Overall though, in terms of negatives, I think the story is really weak and generally forgettable. The movie really just exists to have the two main characters interact, and unfortunately that can only carry things so far. Now, don't get me wrong, I had fun with this movie. I thought it was a really fun time, but I wouldn't say it was a good movie in terms of, a good movie that sticks with you, that you think about all the time. And sadly, I think that Marvel really needs something, more than just a fun movie right now, because they have had a lot of flops recently. The movie is probably going to make a lot of money. It's generally going to be loved by most people. I think it'll have mostly favorable reviews, but I just couldn't really connect with it past a surface level, in terms of like, oh, that's a fun cameo, that was a fun joke, it's cool to see Wolverine with the yellow suit, but besides that, was there really any meat to this movie, something that I could connect with? Unfortunately, I can say say no. So would I recommend seeing it in the theaters? Probably. If you're a Marvel guy, if you like the Fox movies, if you liked X-Men, or you like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, sure, go see it. You'll probably have fun with it. You'll probably like it, but for me, I just go to these movies wanting more. You know, I want something more, more meat to these movies, more depth to characters, more character motivation, stuff like that, and this movie was just lacking a lot of those aspects to it. So if you guys have had a chance to see the movie early, let me know what you guys thought of it down in the comments below. A lot of you will probably be seeing it this weekend as of when this video will go live, but be sure to share your thoughts below if you hadn't had a chance to see it early. If you haven't seen the movie yet, what are you looking forward to seeing in the movie, and are you excited to check it out when it does hit theaters this weekend? If you guys are new to the channel and you like this video, subscribe and hit the bell so you can be notified whenever I drop new content. If you want to hit me up on social media, you can find me in the links down below, and with all that being said, I'll catch you guys next time.